What is good, my fellow comic fans out there? M.V.K here is back. And today on this review, I am here to review and give you my thoughts on the first three parts of the Godzilla versus one-shots that have been out. And it's basically Godzilla in the Marvel Universe during different eras of Marvel. So we did the 60s, which was for Fantastic Four, the 1970s for the Hulk, and the 1980s for Spider-Man. This one just came out. I just finished this today, and we have three more books. X-Men, the Avengers, but it's going to be the New Avengers. That's being written by David Walker. And the last one is Thor. So that's going to be cool. I'm looking forward to reading that. So let me just say this wholeheartedly since reading all three of the books so far. They're fun. They're not supposed to be taken too seriously. It's just pure fun. If you're trying, even though a lot of they say it's Godzilla versus, it's not really, not most of them, they aren't. And so that's the one thing. But let's talk about the first book. And I know it's been out for a while, but I have not reviewed it. Let's talk about Godzilla versus Fantastic Four. Ryan North does the artwork, and Romita Jr. does the artwork. I was not a fan of the artwork. I've never been that big of a fan of Romita Jr.'s artwork. I love his dad's. It's just sometimes it's hit or miss with me, and here it's hit or miss. I didn't like how he drew Godzilla in this. He looked it very weird at times. But in this, it's the first family dealing with the King of Monsters, and they are trying everything they can to deal with Godzilla. You know, he's a force of nature, so of course that's going to play a factor. But in the beginning of the issue, we see Godzilla basically blasting the Statue of Liberty. Now let me show you a little bit of that. Look at that. It's like the artwork is just, I can't with that. But I liked how the family is dealing with Godzilla to the most part. You know, they're using teamwork as always. And it was the first time we actually see Reed actually make a giant fist and hit Godzilla and things like that. But it becomes more tumultuous when Ghidorah comes down, and he is the Herald of Galactus. Yeah, he is Galactus' new herald, which is crazy to see and scary at the same time. Could you imagine King Ghidorah as a herald of Galactus? Oh my God. Well, he does. He's in this. And it's to the point where it takes the combined forces of Godzilla, Silver Surfer, and the Fantastic Four to deal with Ghidorah, and also even break the chain of the power cosmic off of him. And in doing so, we see basically Silver Surfer give Godzilla the power cosmic. That's why he's able to defeat Ghidorah. But this was fun. It was fun. I just didn't like the artwork. Ryan North knows what he's doing. He writes the family great. And it was cool to see Surfer in there as well. But and it was fun. It was fun indeed. And it always ends on a like, okay, is this to be continued? But it is, because it's just a one shot. To a degree, it is. And then we move on to the 1970s, and we move on to Jerry Dugan and Camu Coley, who I met before. Giuseppe Camuncoli, we met at MegaCon, and he was really nice to talk to. And he talked about this issue. Me and Multi, we talked about it. Godzilla versus Hulk. This was interesting and very interesting because we see Ross and Bruce basically dealing with Godzilla with two versions of Mega Godzilla in this, which is very interesting as well. And we also get to see Mothra. She's in this along with Kumanga, the big spider. They're in this as well. And we see Dr. Banner dealing with Dr. Demolus, and we find out in this is that the Mega Godzilla suits were Tony Stark's last design. It literally says in this, Godzilla killed Tony Stark. I was like, wait, whoa. I was like, whoa, what? Whoa. You hear what's the name talk about it. Bruce Banner even says it, and I'll even say it. The rebuilt Mecha Godzilla should be more than enough, and the performance of these machines have been vastly improved by Tony Stark, and no longer do we need the remote pilot themselves. May Stark rest in peace. Godzilla may have crushed him, but perhaps his genius intellect will help us finally be rid of this scaly curse. That right there, I was like, whoa, okay. So yes, Tony Stark died, but he was able to improve Mecha Godzilla. Two of them. They designed two of them. And unfortunately, it don't really matter. It's like, come on, man. Thunderbolt Ross, he thinks he can handle them, but he can't. And we see what happened. I mean, the artwork in this was pretty good. I mean, like there's some issues right here that's actually pretty good. Kamiko's artwork was really good. And then unfortunately, we see that Dr. Demolus, he has another monster up his sleeve, and he brings out this guy, Hedoron, and Godzilla is fighting them. Unfortunately, with Bruce, he was trapped inside one of his damaged Mecha Godzillas, and unfortunately, you know what happens. He gets angry. He turns into the Hulk, and I like how he came out. That was really nice. I like that. That was cool. Unfortunately, Godzilla is trying to help Hulk is trying to help Godzilla fight Hedoron, and he can't really touch him because it burns Hulk's hand, and it started to. So what does Hulk do to help Godzilla? Well, he does this. Hulk is bleeding, and so he basically takes his gamma radiated blood and drops it into Hulk's and into Godzilla, and Godzilla comes back all juiced up on gamma radiation now. Gamma. So we got a gamma powered Godzilla. Last time in Fantastic Four, he was given the power cosmic for a while from Surfer. Here he's got gamma power, and that's how they're able to defeat Hedoron. And I hope I'm saying the name right. And then of course, and then at the end of the book is actually cool. I like because it's almost like the Hulk and Godzilla looking at each other, and they're like almost like they got mutual respect. All right, you're cool. And as soon as he turns back into Bruce, you got Ross there with a gun, basically ready to shoot him. Like I thought you were dead. Because it's basically saying that all the monsters are dead outside of Godzilla, and Bruce is like, I wouldn't do that if I were you. And standing over him is Godzilla, like saying, yeah, do it. I wish you would do it. I'll squish you right now, Ross. And I love that line because basically it's implying Bruce says is, "We monsters stick together," and so it was really funny. I thought that was really cool. But this was fun. I would say I enjoyed this one a lot more than Fantastic Four on some basis of it. But again, there was no fighting between Godzilla and the Hulk. That's the one thing that people need to understand. There is no fighting between them. And that brings us to the latest that came out today, and that is Godzilla versus Spider-Man. And this one is written by Joe Kelly. Joe Kelly does the writing, and Nick Bradshaw does the artwork. I don't mind Nick Bradshaw's artwork. There's just sometimes I'm not a big fan of his chunky faces that he draws. He draws everybody with a chunky, squarey face, and I never really liked that. But in this takes place in the 80s. As you can see, Peter has the symbiote. And while Peter is dealing with the Shocker in this, all of a sudden, Godzilla, he comes into New York, and I love it too because it's pretty funny. But I will say, in terms of who is so far drawn the best looking Godzilla, I will give it to Nick Bradshaw real quick. Nick does a good job. That's that 80s era of Godzilla. Great artwork. I love that. That design of Godzilla was always kind of cool to me. And I love it. Peter's like, holy Godzilla, oh my Godzilla. And it basically implies that Peter knows, and he talked about last time we saw Godzilla was a decade ago when he was facing the Hulk, and he was with the Hulk, and they bring that up. So I'm like, okay, they're bringing up the past, and I like that. And it's really interesting because Peter is just trying to survive. He's trying to do what he can to keep the people of Manhattan safe as much as he can, and he's trying to lead Godzilla maybe outside the city. And then he sees Mary Jane, who sticks her head out the window from his apartment, and he's like, oh my God, I gotta go after Mary Jane. And then she's like, and he's trying to play dumb, like, I'm sure Peter is okay, Miss Watson. And then she's like, it's okay, Tiger, you don't have to play dumb with me, I know it's you. And they play up the whole, wait, you knew it was me? She's like, I know for years, blah, blah, and it's just funny. I thought that was pretty funny. And it's just Peter trying to get Godzilla out of the city. He's not really attacking him that much. There was a couple of times he attacked him. And that was later. Then of course there's this interesting dynamic between Black Cat and Mary Jane, and she's saying she's calling Peter lover. That was Black Cat, and Mary Jane's like, lover, like what's going on? And it was pretty funny. And then of course while Peter tries to get Godzilla, and Godzilla just roars, like he just like roars, and then that just does this to Peter. Just his roar was so powerful it knocked the symbiote off of Peter. And of course that's when we team to understand why Godzilla is here. Because afterwards what we find out is this is what happens to Godzilla. The symbiote bonds with Godzilla. And then we kind of get a sense of why Godzilla is here. He sensed the symbiote. Remember, Godzilla is a force of nature. He's the protector of Earth in this sense. And they made it seem like Godzilla can sense the symbiote, and he knows that it's a bad thing. They talk about he knows. They even kind of imply that Godzilla knows about Null, and I'm just like, what the really? I was like, okay, you're reaching with that a little bit. I'm like, okay, like how would Godzilla know about Null? And then of course, basically Peter has to get this thing off of him. He has to get the symbiote off of Godzilla because now he's just wrecking havoc. And so Peter goes into his regular costume, and he takes the Shocker's gauntlets that you see he's got right here. That's actually good artwork right there. I actually like that. He takes and he shoots a hell of a blast, a vibranium blast. He hits Godzilla to knock the symbiote off him, which was pretty cool. And then Peter falls. You know, he's hurting, but Godzilla catches him. And then they still gotta fight the symbiote because the symbiote's still in the form of like a Godzilla-like type, and they're able to stop it. And then the funny part about it is that at the end, Godzilla uses his atomic breath to blast the symbiote, and you know, Peter's like, yeah, he's like, yes. And then Godzilla looks at him, and he's just like, and Peter, I love what Peter says. He's like, you don't have to tell me twice. All future spider suits will be made in the USA by me. When I wake up in a million years, ouch, because he was hurting. And Godzilla just goes back into the East River and he swims away. And that was it. And then, of course, we see Eddie Brock, and then the symbiote attaches himself. But the thing about it is, Eddie becomes something called God Venom, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? I'm like, where's this gonna go? They ain't gonna do shit with this. So it was like, okay, this was just fun because it's told through the lens of Spider-Man. Like, Spider-Man, there's no way Spider-Man is a match for Godzilla. So how does the Amazing Spider-Man lead or get Godzilla out of the realm of New York? He's got to use his brains, but unfortunately something happens. What I did not like about it, and I will talk about, is Nick Lowe thinking he has to put his fucking 2 cents into every little detail of this book. And I'm not even joking. I'm dead serious about this. You know, like these little bubbles at the bottom. None of them meant anything. There was only a few of them that was like, okay, yeah, I get where this is. You know, this is where this happened, or something like that. You know, like when he's talking about, you know, okay, why is Peter in a black suit? Okay, this is why, because it happened after Secret Wars, all that nonsense. But then there was just stupid bits in there. I'm just like, Nick Lowe, shut up. I don't need to the point, every time I read one of them, I'm like, it was getting me angry. I'm like, shut up. God damn it. I'm not here for you. I'm not here to hear your crap, you know? But outside of that, this was fun. Joe Kelly did a fun job in terms of, and Bradshaw, to me, Bradshaw is the first one that actually, he drew Godzilla the best so far. That's just me, personally. In terms of the first 2 issues, Fantastic Four and Hulk, Nick Bradshaw has drawn Godzilla the best. Next would be Kamakoli, and you could put Romita Jr. at the bottom so far. So yes, that was fun. Now the next will be Godzilla and the X-Men, and Fabian Nicieza is doing the writing, and Emilio Lasso is doing the artwork. What I probably will do is review them similar to how I reviewed this one, 3 apiece. So I'll do Godzilla versus X-Men, Godzilla versus Avengers, and Godzilla versus Thor in one video, like I'm doing with this one. But outside of that, this was fun. I can't really hate on it. What I'm also seeing a trend with all these books, with all 3 of the books, what I'm seeing a trend with all 3 of these books are, every writer has Godzilla, something is happening to Godzilla that I guess a lot of fans want to see. For example, here in this one, Godzilla gets to taste the power cosmic, gets a taste of the power cosmic in this one. In Godzilla Hulk, he gets juiced up on gamma radiation, gamma blood. And in this one, and in Godzilla Spider-Man, what happened? The symbiote bonded with him for a while. So yeah, I'm noticing that. So it makes me wonder what the hell is going to happen with the X-Men. I'm wondering about that. Is Professor Xavier going to read Godzilla's mind or something? I don't know. It makes me wonder about that. But outside of that, it was fun. They're fun issues, and I'm liking this. I know the next thing that Marvel and Toho are going to do is Godzilla destroys the Marvel Universe, and I will be reading those in single issues. I'm not going to wait until the trade. I'm gonna buy that in single issue. I probably will get the trade either way. But yeah. Outside of that, if you were to ask me which one, if I was to rank the first three, let's see. Number one, I'm going with Spider-Man, number one, because it was just fun. It was just dumb fun, which I enjoyed. Number two, I would go with Hulk. This one had a little bit more stake to it, and a lot of backstory. Like, you're like, whoa, wait, Tony Stark is dead. So, and it kind of explained a lot more in this, which I was fine with. And yeah, last would be Fantastic Four Hulk. Fantastic Four, and the reason why it's low on my level is that artwork. The artwork just made me not like it. I'm like, God damn, like, couldn't they have found somebody? Couldn't someone else have drawn that one instead of Romita Jr.? Look, I'll be honest, I think Romita's fallen off a little bit. It's just, I did not like how I did not like how Godzilla looked in that. Especially that's supposed to be the 60s Godzilla. I'm just like, the cover's great, but that's why it is. Well, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'll be back again for some more reviews. But outside of that, I hope you guys enjoyed. I will see you guys next time. Deuces.